Irashaimase. Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday. And on the menu for this Saturday, we're wrapping up our Star Fox April with my personal favorite in the series, the original Star Fox for the Super Nintendo. Released back in 1993, this title was co-developed by Nintendo and UK developer Argonaut Software. So what kind of taste will this classic have? Let's get cooking and find out. So after leaving the title menu, we're brought to this control menu, which allows you to go and select your control scheme. It's definitely nice because it gives you the opportunity to actually go and visualize how your inputs go and affect your ship. So if you want to determine whether you want to go and have your y-axis inverted or not, you can go and actually see how that's going and handling. And you can also go and test out the other weapons on there, like the laser, the bomb, your brake and your boost, and the ability to do a barrel roll, which isn't really a barrel roll. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. So upon pressing start, we can go to training or game. Of course, we want to go into the game itself, which brings us to our map. So here we have the ability to go and choose between 3 different routes, and that's actually how the game goes and determines difficulty. Your route, which is actually referred to as level 1, would be your easiest route. Level 2, it would be more of a medium difficulty, and then level 3 is the game's hard. So for our purposes today, we'll go and start with level 1, and Corneria, where all our Star Fox adventures begin. Almost. We have a rather cool looking General Pepper sporting some nice shades, going and explaining what's going on. And once our quick briefing is done, the iconic sound clip.
Good luck.
So unlike the Star Fox 64 re-envisioning of Star Fox, there is no mothership that we're going and using. Rather than going and launching from the Great Fox, we actually go and start our journey from a base on Corneria itself. We of course get a little bit of a check-in from our wingmates, going and speaking their nice little lilac gibberish. Yes, we saw you. You were awesome there, Slippy. So like other versions of Star Fox, there are power-ups that we can go and select. There's, of course, the twin laser, which drastically increases our firepower. We can also go and select bombs. There's also shields, and then we'll occasionally go and find little circles that we can go and select, or rather collect, that go and refill our shields. So this title was one of the first polygon-based games on the Super Nintendo, and it's achieved through the addition of an extra coprocessor on the actual card itself called the Super FX chip that was developed by Argonaut Software. Interesting little fact, on the chip itself, on the original versions of the Super FX chip, it's actually referred to as the Mario chip. I can't remember 100% what the acronym goes and stands for, but it was a nice little touch on their part to include that in there. But even with the addition of an extra coprocessor, the Super Nintendo really wasn't designed to go and handle .3D polygon rendering, so we could definitely have many periods where the game goes and slows down just to the sheer amount of processing power that's required for what we're going and seeing here, even though compared to today's games with how many millions of polygons going and being displayed on screen, we only are displaying maybe a few hundred polygons at best. But at the time, this title was phenomenal. And personal opinion, I also go and feel that the original Star Fox has the best soundtrack of the Star Fox series. I love so many of the tracks that are present in this game. And here we go and find ourselves at the first boss of the Star Fox series, the Attack Carrier. Also featured in Star Fox 64 and the recent Star Fox Zero. But especially in the original Star Fox, this guy is a cakewalk. He has his carrier side and his missile side, which can be quickly eliminated by the use of a bomb. And that is stage 1. So in addition to going and helping render the 3D polygons that Star Fox goes and uses, the Super FX chip also went and aided the Super Nintendo in going and processing advanced 2D graphics as well. So additional scaling and the explosions and the bitmaps that we go and see throughout the course of the game are also handled by the Super FX chip. So it wasn't just the polygons. So the score is based upon your percentage of enemies destroyed, and at certain score amounts you will go and get additional bonus credits, or rather continues, so you can go and keep your adventure going. So the first one being 10,000, I believe, 30,000 being the next continue mark, and then 50,000. Our second stage, the Asteroid Belt. And here, well, if you weren't already in love with this title, then going and getting to fly a spacecraft in space from this cockpit view, that was definitely icing on the cake back in the day. Although, one thing that is interesting about the asteroid field in the original Star Fox are the vast majority of the asteroids aren't done in polygons. They're just scaled bitmaps. So, they do look a little bit different compared to the rest of the enemies that we're going and encountering. So like the other Star Fox titles, it is possible for enemies to go and, well, rather, at certain points throughout the course of the stage itself, you'll go and see enemies that will start chasing after your wingman. The wingman that it ultimately goes and gets attacked is random, but it definitely seems that there's a higher chance that it'll go and be Slippy compared to Falco or Peppy. So it was a little weird to go and see Peppy be the one that was under attack there. It is a little nice touch that it's not always the same wingman going and getting attacked. He wasn't happy I was going and stealing his thunder. Peppy, it's not your day. So fortunately, unlike other entrants in the series, you can't go and damage your wingman, but they do happen to get in your way if they happen to go and be on the screen itself, as unlike Star Fox 64, they don't have the ability to necessarily fly around the entire screen. They're locked into the same path that you are in this particular rail shooter. Here we go and find ourselves at the boss of the asteroid field, the Rock Crusher. His attacks are relatively easy. You go and have the two sides that go and have those laser emplacements on them. And every once in a while, he'll go and charge in on you like such. Just as long as you avoid the middle section there, though, you're fine. And once we destroy all the laser emplacements, that middle section flies off. We have the last weak point revealed, and bam. Asteroid field complete. All ships check in. I've always loved this effect of the ships going and warping into hyperspace right here. And after going and warping out of hyperspace, we will find ourselves at the Andros Space Armada, which consists of powerful battleships. Destroy their energy cores.
Good luck.
Shoot the core! So we have another space stage where we go and start in cockpit view. But depending on our actions that we choose to go and do, we might not actually stay in cockpit view. You'll go and see what I mean by that here in just a moment. So you go and shoot those 3 polygonal hexahedrons? I'm not sure what exactly you would call those. You can go and get a 1-up. Which is always nice to go and have on hand, as some of the later stages, Venom in particular, can get difficult. So unlike Star Fox 64, there aren't particular roles that the various wingmen actually go and serve. You know, you had Peppy that went and gave you advice on how to go and fly, Slippy who went and analyzed shields, and Falco who happened to go and show you secrets. Well, there isn't necessarily any of that in the original Star Fox. But if you went and kept your wingmen alive, you had the possibility that they might go and possibly get enemies that you happen to have missed, so you had a better chance of going and getting a 100% completion clear on that stage. First ship, energy core destroyed. I always loved those core inside ship runs, but it goes and makes me wonder, why would you go and design your battleships with corridors big enough for enemy fighters to go and fly into and blow them up? It seems like really poor ship design to me. And Slippy, you're totally in the way, dude. So in that ship, I did go and pick up a shield, which unfortunately, just due to the power of the system, they decided to go and just represent by going and making your ship appear in a blue wireframe. Let us head in. Going and flying through this ship, there's a little bit more involved, as we have to go and dodge all these platforms, shoot these opening doors, and even use our brakes for a little bit. I purposely skipped that bomb power-up, because if you go and actually move off of the center axis, it's kind of a little hard to actually return to it, thus going and increasing the chance you'd go and take damage throughout the course of the stage. Second battleship destroyed. We have the rude missile carrier going and popping right out in front of us. So despite the limited number of polygons, I do like some of the ship design that they ultimately chose to go with both the enemy fighters and the enemy battleships in this particular stage. That ship is truly a horrible shot. Here we can go and determine what direction we want the gates to go and open by shooting them. But it's just, you know, I wouldn't say it's easier to, but you can generally just deal with the direction that they're actually having you fly. Like up, down, up, down. An enemy is hiding in the ship. Who would have ever suspected? For a brief moment, the game goes and takes over control of the R-Wing for you. It's disappointing because these kind of flight maneuvers would be fun to go and actually try and pull off yourself, though maybe the game can't handle rendering those turns and go and allowing the player to go and control the ship at the same time. We find ourselves at the ship's core. To go and open it up, we have to go and destroy these 3 lasers positioned on the outer side of the core. Once open, we can quickly make short work of the core and big explosions. Probably for the flying through the ships and blowing up the cores, that's one of my favorite, if not my favorite stage from the original Star Fox. So we still have our shields, so we definitely look awkward compared to the fully rendered and filled in polygons of our teammates, but oh well, what can I go and say? We did good. The 4th stage on the easy route, Meteor.
Good luck.
But it's at this point that I'll go and choose to wrap things up for today, so I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and for going and joining me this entire month for our celebration of all things Star Fox. It certainly has been fun going and taking a look at the entire series, and even if I wasn't 100% on the new title, it was still great to go and see the series being revived, if not in perfect form, after all these years. So, I want to thank you once again so much for coming out and joining me for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and I look forward to going and seeing you again with more of my regularly scheduled programming next week.